Okay, let me make sure I'm recording. Yeah, okay. So I'm just going to go over some of the watch lists that I've, put together over the week and see if they're heading in the right direction, so I can get my predictability average. But AMT, I did predict that it would end up going around this area. Let's see. To this before it did a reversal. Now it seems as though it kind of got rejected. Intraday it got up to 1096. Now if you were monitoring this throughout the day, you would have probably sold just above that, like 50% sell, because this is, I've been telling you guys that there's going to be some profit taking right here. So people are going to try and break even from buying over here, or trying to cash in their profits from this bounce before the earnings report. So I'm not surprised that it did turn around right here. So if you didn't take your profits here, then it'll probably do a retracement back to this area and bounce back up, but who knows. Yeah, there's not much to say about this one. The volume on AMD for this low closing candle right here was a little higher than yesterday and the day before. So I would not be surprised if it does open lower and continue to go down. But we'll just have to wait and see tomorrow. See if that does occur. AVP, I think we looked at that one. Yeah, we did. Let's try and get a little better look here. So this one was on watch because I was waiting on it to hit this area. I did set a buy signal here, and it did end up going up to 577 roughly. This is not too crazy of a negative candle. We'll have to wait and see what tomorrow brings. I wouldn't be surprised if it continues to go up to this region. But if it does end up retracing back to this area, then, if you didn't buy in, you're just going to buy in around here, because the relative volume on this one isn't too crazy high compared to the buy volume on this day. So we'll just have to wait and see what it does. I suspect that the buy volume here was high just because it was breaking the high of this resistance right there. So we'll have to wait and just see if it does test this area and come back down. If it does come back down, just buy here, so your risks are a little lower and your profit margins are a little greater. What else? BioC, as predicted, it did end up retracing a little bit. It opened high, and wait, why is that all? Oh, okay. It did end up opening high, and when it opens high, I did suspect, if you saw the video yesterday, that if it does hit this region right here at 182, 183, that region, that it would reverse. Now it did end up opening at 182, which is kind of shitty because you're right on the high of this candle. And so I don't know, people just grabbed the profits that they could and ran with it. So if anything, it'll just simply retrace to this, or the retracement of 23.6. So, this one's on watch just because it got really volatile. This isn't too great of a stock to invest in, but it was on watch because of that extreme volatility right here. Okay, let's see. What was another one? Oh yeah, PFE. PFE, the one I talked up a bunch. My greatest failure. So, you do seem to have some consolidation right here, but with both of these candles, there's some serious market uncertainty. Now you do have two of the same candle. The volume change isn't that crazy, so I do expect this to come back up. I did purchase this on my paper trading account, so I am hoping for a move back to this area and test again for a momentum trade to this region. If not, if it is, the next point of resistance would be around here at this consolidation period. You would end up with a test margin of about this area. So if it does turn into momentum, it could reach this area, play a little bit in there, or even continue on up. So we'll just have to wait and see what it does. You know, this one is part of the S&P 500, so it'll follow the overall trend-ish, depends. What else? I think I talked about UGAS briefly. It did make a 5% up move to this area. So I would think, yeah, come on. So I do suspect that it would go back up to the $34 mark before going back down. These candles do seem to want to be heading back up with a higher high and a higher low right here on each of these candles. So we'll just have to wait and see what it does. And God, what was the other one? Oh yeah, I think I spoke briefly about FH. I definitely did. FH. So you got FH. Wow, man, where did my trend lines go? Okay, so you've got your trend line here. There's more to it on this one. The overall trend is roughly here. So this support turned into resistance after it crossed over. Now I believe that the Fibonacci retracement, I think we briefly talked about this. Yeah, exactly on 23.6%. So, you know, I'm not surprised that it did do its turnover here. I suspect that this will go back down to this support line at roughly 212, and then we can probably get back in at the 23.6 retracement for momentum to 261 roughly, or at this resistance line right here at 258. So I'm just going to erase this to keep it clean, but you know, so over the course of the week it'll do this and then pop back up, and hopefully sell 50%, and then it might drop back down, or it might go back up to this region. So we'll just have to play it by ear. But FH, really good one right now. You got some pretty relatively high volume compared to this area, you know, and some points doubling that amount. Let's see. TWI, I think I briefly talked about TWI. The only reason why I briefly talked about this is because it was nearing a point of resistance, or on the trend right here. Right there, roughly. So anyways, and I was just having it on watch. It did end up bouncing up a little bit of a lot right here. And it's probably going to end up meeting some resistance right here. So it's due for a reversal. I mean, there's some pretty good volume on this. You know, based on the volume that we've got right here, the momentum I would suspect goes up, but I wouldn't be surprised if it goes back down, just because of the natural nature of you know, channels and how people usually trade them. I think that's all for now. Oh yeah, ENDP I was monitoring only because of that you know, that consolidation on the price line right here. So you've got this price action right here, and the next point of resistance was right here. Both were rejected. I was really hoping for it to come back up and make a bounce to here. That was rejected, so I was waiting for it to come back up to here, and that was rejected. Now you have a little doji candle for that market consolidation. Less confident than this area, because you have those consecutive dojis followed by a bearish candle right here for the lower low. So I'm not surprised it went back down here, and just this candle is probably what shot the overall trend towards the negative side. So because this positive candle, I do suspect, and in combination with the volume here, I do suspect it to come back up to here and maybe even here and maybe even here. So it's just one to look at a price of $11 for a profit potential of 18. That's pretty good. Even if you make it up to $14, that's some decent profit margins for the amount of risk you're taking. Now, let's confirm that retracement with a Fibonacci and see if that's following that denial. Whoops. Okay, so if you do a reverse fib, you do end up with 161%. So it is. I'm pretty surprised it's testing it right on it. So, you know, this consolidation period, it can be ambiguous because some people will put it right down here, but it is playing in this region. So we'll just have to monitor it on the downtrending Fibonacci. So I think that's about all I want to mention for now. As far as retracement. Yep. I think that's it. Okay, well, good luck.